Okay, hi. So I thought I was going to be praising hallelujah because I thought I was done with this video and I recorded it once and then the damn uh, buzzing or whatever it was doing crackling. So it gives me an opportunity to record this now for the second time, which I'm always hoping, while it might be a little bit different, they will be shorter because I feel like there's always so much information. So this is Breaking Patterns Example 2 from Nora Finch's World Personal Experience. And we went over attachment in the last video. This one I have to include on here because it is in the top 5 of my deepest life lessons, top challenges. And I want you, though, to refer to my playlist, Nora, the beginning, if you would like to hear more in detail, specifically with this topic, because there's a lot more information in there. This episode also can sound really juicy, I know, uh, on the different things that I go into. But anyway, so this, I feel like all my videos probably provide some sort of entertainment for you people. So this one I would definitely say is, and I'm sorry if I stop and have to relook at notes, but since I titled the other one Attachment, I'm going to say this is self-esteem based, while all of this sort of stuff is just a part of our journey, depending on how you look at it, is addressing or addresses self-worth in some level or one way or another. Okay. Basically, are you going to do anything in life regarding this and this and this, right? Standing up for ourselves in different areas. Okay, so this one, self-esteem hypnotized by physical beauty. So I think that's what the playlist is, Nora, the beginning, and it says hypnotized by physical beauty. And I actually just finished part 4. It's been like 3 or 4 months that it's passed. Sorry about that. I'm also going to work really hard at not saying and so a lot in this video. So again, I hope you are patient with me. So we are this I'm going to show this. This is our formula again. I'm going to be going over this probably as I tell my story to kind of give you the examples as we go. But this part, before we get into it, remember how I said in getting it through our skull, we might have to learn the lesson 2, 3, 4, 5 times. And in my case, I don't know, half a lifetime or whatever it is, because this continued till about age 30. And I talk about this in my other video and just go in deeper. So I encourage you to watch that. But let's just say you're not going to do that and you want to know how to incorporate the formula. That's what these videos are. While I might talk about all these other things in different videos and different playlists, I wanted to get straight to the point, and this 2024 was going to be discussing about how to get to it, make the baby steps that you need to, and understand what's going on. Okay, so let's start with the number one that I talked about in bringing awareness to whatever the challenge is, right? This was a little bit kind of challenging for me because this is not something I'm still, really working on anymore. So I have to back up and think like, okay, if I was at that point and I was to define the challenge, we are going to start with defining of the challenge is addressing my self-esteem issues and that I am hypnotized by beauty. And why do I go through this pattern with different acquaintances or friends and I cause more suffering to myself and actually reject myself more, right? So why? And then the releasing for good and permanently. And this is, like I said, one of my top challenges. So to speed it up, I've already said so how many times? The history, defining the challenge and looking at my history. So the couple of friends that I had growing up, friend acquaintances, were the issues that I had in, that's the beginning of the being hypnotized by beauty. And we will say that I called it hypnotized because it's like a power that was over me. And to speed up, while I said, you should go watch those videos. The reason why I was hypnotized by this challenge is because of society. Okay, so speeding it up from California from 6 when my parents divorced, I was given to my dad. We lived in a very rural town, and he would drive to Baltimore, Maryland every day. So he wanted to avoid crime. In avoiding crime, there were less cultural people. He did remarry a Filipino lady, my beautiful role model of a mom there. But yes, there were very few people there. Were of a brown skin, and I was the one of the 2 or 3 that wasn't adopted. So that shows you I was pretty much raised around other like white people. And I did not feel white enough in that environment. While I am mixed, my mom's side is the Thai, East Indian, Mongolian, Chinese, all these things I ended up finding out later. Magnificence, and my dad is the Scottish and Irish side, and Native American, 8th Cherokee. So growing up there is that there was no sense of culture, no didn't give me that sense of belonging, didn't help, and then my other interests also kind of in a way outcasted me of my own doing. But, I liked punk rock music, I liked things that weren't popular in this community, right? Dressed different. So in that, you're going to ask, okay, then how did I get into all of this? Well, not that I actually watched a lot of TV, but at that time, what I saw modeled to me by an acquaintance friend who was beautiful, who had boyfriends all of the time, that I looked at that as like, wow, they must really love her, that they're with each other 24/7. That's what's desirable and beautiful. And she was one of the 2 friends that I had at the time that I would still instill some says either that they were beautiful or they were the ideally physical, beautiful woman at that time, which is only the late 80s, so that was basically white, Caucasian, blonde, or brown eyes, didn't really matter that part, hourglass figure, small nose, just things that didn't look like me. So I compared myself to them. So, not to get too much into the story there, that's how it began. And then later in adulthood, I found out basically around the age of 30 with one of the friends that it was like a power. It was released from me because when I had worked on myself and built up that confidence within myself and my character, I was able to see. And I tried to stay in contact with her, but in that period of time, my 30s, when I got pregnant and she sent me an email that just sounded very negative, I actually had somebody else read it to kind of confirm to me, like, is this being negative, whatever this is. I didn't get a good feeling after reading it. So I know there's aspects of parenting and all that I always knew that weren't going to be fun, but I wasn't really expecting something like that or a reaction like that from her because I never really totally viewed her the way that she was as being negative. Um, I just compared myself. She was like better than me at everything. All these things that I believed that whether they were false or not, I just believed it. So I wanted to hold on to her. So at 30, that's when that was released. Actually, the energy, like I just felt like I stopped reaching out. I don't even know if I responded to the email, and it was like a breath of fresh air, like literally a relief, and maybe because I had matured. And then as an adult, again, I'm going to a little bit, speed up the story to an adulthood. 2 more people that, these people that I looked up to or admired about the physically beautiful, they were just acquaintance friends. So when I say like girlfriends, they weren't, actually romantically, sexually a girlfriend. It's just, I just always have loved the physically beautiful, like that image, the hourglass and all of that, and just of course pretty face. But and then found out later in life it doesn't always match, right? You see something beautiful and then the inner character is bad or just not very much substance there. Hence why the interest in male friends. Okay, and also growing up with my dad, if all of you haven't heard that story, and my mom's remarried husband, that's how a lot of these masculine different interests and different things come into play. Okay, so those 2 people later in life as adults, I knew I was really growing up, especially when I was going down this path, and I had the final, I would say this was probably like, again, like 30-ish, had just, and then another situation with one of the beautiful girls, and she did something that I didn't like. Her attitude, whether it was acting or sounding like a bitch or nasty or not loving, basically I would say not loving, and I didn't want to be around that anymore. I was choosing to remove myself. So I was really proud of myself. I felt like that was one of the final stages of me learning about it doesn't really matter about the looks or being friends with you or whatever it is, which, I don't want to be involved with you anymore. And I am not afraid to admit that a part of another reason of me wanting to know these people in life, beautiful people, or to be friends with them, is I wanted to know what it was like to get that kind of attention. And what's funny and that makes me laugh is that that did not work. None of them actually got that much of attention, like I said, except for the boyfriend thing, but or going to the mall, right? And people are always hitting on them. Um, is it actually made me feel worse. So that is not a good thing. I don't think that was a good thing. It didn't help me on any level. But they weren't bad people. I never considered them bad people. I just think that this was a very frustrating journey, and for me to learn how much my inner character, matters to me, and the importance of working on oneself. Okay, so going back to fears, and I won't go too deep into that, but the reason of why I kept doing this and repeating this pattern is obviously because I hadn't worked on the self love, building the uniqueness. I didn't even know that I was doing this until my early 20s, and I started learning by expanding my mind, learning how to samba dance, learning other languages, learning hip hop, learning all these things that I felt that were going to add to my tool belt. And again, it wasn't that I knew that I was trying to be unique or doing anything. I just had unique interests. And so that was during that time. Fears, like I said, I'm not going to go into that much. I'm sure there was a fear of rejection and things like that going on. Being hypnotized. Yeah, I'd have to, if I was going to talk about fears, we'd have to go deeper into another area. Okay, as far as releasing for the good, I told you that it was more so just, it was life, it was time, and it was life. And so that's how I was transitioning out of, I guess, my blindfold or my mask came off in realizing, like I said, I didn't look at that friend as like that she was negative or that she was even bad for me. I don't even say it was anything of like, toxic or anything like that. I mean, as you know, when you're growing up and you only talk to those one or two like people and you have things in common, like it really never, I felt like was affecting me in any way. Like it's not like she said something or did something other than not wanting to be friends with me anymore because I was talking to somebody she didn't like or approve of. That's for another show, but that's how it started to release there. I don't know that journaling or anything like during that time though would have helped me in particular. So moving forward now, if I was going to recommend this to you, other than, and I'll talk about at the end of the video in my next video, two is just the working on yourself. And what I mean by that, I mean, there are certain things, like I said, the dancing, learning other languages, learning more of my language and my mom's language, just other thing, working on how to resolve conflicts. That's another way of building and working on yourself, and how to do that compassionately, learning self-defense. And you hear me talk about that in one of my other videos. So we talked about the releasing. I kept doing this. I forgot to mention. I also kept doing this. I didn't know that I was doing it, but I was doing it because I didn't understand that I was of value, right? And that I could appear pretty too, because I learned as I got older there were different types of pretty. Different people have different tastes. People are attracted to different people. We get that. The style, the fashion, whatever. We're not everybody's thing. We're not everybody's, what do they say, slice of pie or piece of cake? Whatever it is. I just kept comparing for so long, that I didn't look like them. And I feel like, I'll say this again, this is like debilitating and crippling, like living your life comparing yourself to somebody else. It sucks. So that was one of the last things I want to finish. So I can't remember. I can't let myself forget the example with my coworker. I should actually write that down very big. So this, as a result of basically the media, these people that I was seeing in movies when I was watching TV, and these white girls and different things like that, that's just what I was seeing in those types of movies. And I thought, oh, that's what every guy wants. That's what's beautiful. That's desirable, right? And so it's not like personal growth or inner character is, I would say, promoted or encouraged. Hence, we see all in the social media what's going on in there. And I have my own opinions and different things like that. And still, I don't get it's like depending on what decade you're in, that there's a body part in style. Instead of embracing yourself, whether it's titties or your ass or whatever it is, it's just going to go back and forth our entire lifetimes. I don't get it. Or, how thick or thin your eyebrows are, just certain things, it is about just embracing everybody's uniqueness. Okay, so that's where, so as I was going through those stages and I was learning about, so 20s, 30s, human behavior, learning about different personality disorders, narcissism, and that it actually exists as a noun, because I could understand it from the place of somebody is acting narcissistic, but not that they are a narcissist. So the more I learned about that, the more I just grew, and it helped me understand that whole scene there. The comparing, like I said, and the releasing. So this is one of those things I feel like, because it took me so long, there isn't a quick fix, but what I can tell you is the more you work on yourself, you build your uniqueness, your passions, your skills, other thing to take away from the focus so much on the physical is going to help you. Okay. And another thing, I guess, with the breaking patterns, because I really want to give you this example at the end, because, or right now, is because it still has to do with comparing ourselves to others, and it lasted so long, about 9 years. And that example is, I feel like the more examples I give you, the better. This actually didn't have to do with being hypnotized by physical beauty, but it had to do, while my coworker was pretty, it was more so just, again, the comparing example, that I feel like can be crippling, is that because of the industry that I'm in, and maybe it was not in alignment in the beginning with the whole holistic inner character, inner beauty, of wellness, and if you want to say exterior or fake, right? Whether it's in aesthetics or skincare, right? It was like the self tanning, the eyelashes, fake eyelashes, Botox, plastic surgery. That was on that end of it. Or that was a huge part of it, right? And even doing eyebrows, I love doing eyebrows, but still there's a sense of vanity in it, right? So there's this underlying core of vanity instead of wellness, I think wasn't in line with me. So whether it was meaning I was supposed to evolve eventually out of that industry, I don't know. But that time of comparing myself and my success based on, I felt like it was a popularity contest. And I was always dissecting and trying to figure out how come I am not, in my mind, financially successful after this certain amount of time, like she is, or the whole just appearing that somebody is busy. I mean, doesn't also mean that they necessarily do a good job, or that means anything. And then I started just like taking jabs at my own skills and what I'm not doing, or what I'm doing, or what I should be doing. And this madness that really took a lot of jabs and attacks at my confidence level in myself, and definitely my worth, and not being able to stand up for myself, like with my clients. So why I wanted to give that example, while it wasn't a physical beauty thing, even though that industry is full of lots of dealing with physical beauty issues, I just wanted to say that, again, a last point in importance of building yourself and your skills to make you stand out, and not only that, feel better about yourself. I mean, the more things that you can create, or make yourself more badass and more of this and that and whatever, and skill buildings and all this stuff, the more you are going to stand out, and it's going to make you feel more confident about your abilities, and the less likely you will compare yourself to other people. And lastly, I would like to say, at this point in life, when it comes to the physical beauty thing that I didn't say in my other video, is that all these things, all that I can do is work on these parts of myself to make me feel better about myself. And with my own fashion and my own, because I'm still really into that, just working on that and focusing on that makes me feel better, and makes me, just because I love doing that. I love cutting up sashes. I love customizing things. I like doing things that just can blend all of the things that I like into my style, because I've learned to like so many different things. So I like to take and pick and choose. And that's how I feel like it should be in life. In my opinion, I'll use that word should, just like religious or spiritual beliefs. I've taken what resonates with me. So before I go on to a rant that has nothing to do with what I'm talking about today, I hope this helped you. And like I said again, we're going to continue on with this formula. I really kind of like doing more of these examples, because I know the more examples, the more that it will help you. But I'm also trying to focus on my soul's journey series. But whatever you're going through, just start with becoming aware. This is one of the things where it's kind of like, unless somebody brings it up to you, you might not think it's a problem. But if you are listening to anything that I am talking about, or maybe there is something, I feel like there is always something about ourselves that, if we really turn off distractions and just sit and think, like, I want to be better about this area of my life, there's something you're going to find. So just ask yourself, what else, is there something I can work on? And define that challenge. Remember, write all the details of your history. I encourage writing down with a piece of paper, because a lot of stuff will come out of there, why you're doing it, if there are any fears holding you back from making those changes. And again, the challenge can be just a really basic thing. It's just something that you keep repeating and that you don't know why you keep doing it. Lack of organizing, like that could be your life. Lack an area, like you're just sick and tired, like you keep saying you're going to be organized, but that don't. Or me trying to write better, like just do it, write clear so I can actually see it and not have to rewrite something again. So basic as that, right? Then they're releasing for good, all the different options out there, how to release it. And it might take a while. Be patient with yourself. And like I said, there's lots of things out there. There's hypnosis, there's the journaling. A lot of this stuff, like I said, is going to take time on some certain level. But the fact that you even want to change it is good enough, I say, right? Because you're aware of it, you're trying, you want to make a conscious change. And praying and meditating, I will say that, just asking for help. Ask for somebody to come help you in life get through whatever it is that you want to work on, because they will appear. Okay, that's the time. If you want to talk about getting spiritual, people waiting till something bad happens to start praying. Or maybe you don't like that word. I know it took a long time for me to have a positive association around it. If you haven't heard me talk about that before, praying really, helped, ask to be shown, help me work on this area. I want to be free of suffering. And this hypnotized by beauty thing is a large part of what I talk about with my suffering. Attachment, abandonment, all these core things that are illusions in my mind. And I just feel like this just has taken me so long. I don't know that I ever thought that I would feel any sort of freedom from it. So I'm glad that I was able to release these things that I feel like almost like a torment, like torment. It's the best way, I guess, to put it. Crippling. Okay, so I hope you got some value from this. I hope this is helping you on one way or another, even to think about, to address, to, I don't know, some tips for breaking patterns, for change, for the good, to feel better, to feel like you can enjoy life, not being sucked into these thoughts and negative thinkings that just, they basically keep us staying stuck. They are not benefiting us. Okay, so hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.